All right, fire signs, here we go. What are they still not over? And so I hate to give you this jump scare, but we're going to start it off right here. The signifier for this reading is temperance. And if you're a fire sign, you're probably tired of temperance and the strength card coming out in almost every single reading. It's like, goodness gracious, is this not proof that we are the strongest soldiers? Like, dang, this is the signifier. But there are some extra details in this imagery here that we're going to get to in a second, okay? But just be mindful, okay? What I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is that this is someone who usually is kind of very calculated and a little mean with their tongue, but for some reason they kind of swallowed their tongue. They didn't say it at the moment, but typically this person has no cut cards about saying whatever is on the tip of their tongue or on the tip of their brain, no matter how harsh it can be. But they kind of observed something about you, and that's what they kept hush about. Okay, so maybe whatever words you did exchange were, not the best. They weren't kind-hearted words, but they kept the kind-hearted words behind. I'm even including my butterflies here with the sunflowers. I'm getting that there's a sunnier side to this picture that they didn't want to confess, okay? For some reason also, I feel like you kind of escaped something, right? You got to walk away or you got to leave the situation. They are kind of left behind someplace, somewhere. So you got to move on from this dynamic, and they never got the chance to speak up and open their mouth. And I wish they had been more actionable because, like I said, typically they have no problem being brash in the negative. But they really did hold this back. And actually, I'm hearing that some of them, no, they don't want to come forward and be nice because they don't have that capacity. What they recognize in you is your light. They recognize how intelligent you are, how brilliant you are. You have just a brain full of ideas and capacity and talents. You are someone who probably speaks maybe more than one language. You are someone who is constantly coming up with innovative, creative ideas. Really, that fire sign energy is pouring out here in this magician card. And it just is showing how creative and talented you are, how much your brain can kind of hold. And for someone like the Knight of Swords, the Swords card is the card of, or the suite of intelligence. And so understanding that they really respect intelligence, this is like sapiosexual, okay? Like they're attracted to your brain here, okay? And they recognize you for the big talent that you are, the big energy that you are. The magician is part of the major arcana, okay? That is a major life theme here. They're recognizing you for who you are as a master manifester. And wherever you walked away from, they recognize wherever you're going, you're going to be blessed. You're going to be fine. You are someone who cannot fail because of the gifts and the talent that you bring, okay? What I'm hearing also, though, is that be careful because they're doing something, wishing negative, thinking negatively, setting the evil eye. They might actually be seeing other practitioners getting work done specifically to see into your life. So monitoring spirits and also to mess with your coin, to mess with your literal bag, okay? And so this person has a jealousy that they can't speak about, that they cannot confess to you, that is making them literally attack your bag, okay? I am kind of feeling like there's some practitioner work involved, whether it's them themselves doing freezer spells and things of the lot, or if they're seeking out hoodoo spiritualist, Santeria spiritualist and the lot. So that is something to be very, very mindful of and careful. And so this is also what I'm getting with the temperance card is that we're being encouraged to cleanse, okay? Spiritual baths, yes, of course, as she's dipped into the refreshing waters, but also river work, okay? I feel like you have already been called by your spirit team or you've been hearing whispers to do river work. Even no matter if you're in the northern hemisphere and you're freezing your butt off right now, you can find a creek or a stream that's not frozen over, hopefully, or the moment you can, get to it and do some river work. Release to the river and tell the river spirits who and what it is, okay? If you don't know who it is, at least say what it is and let them figure it out. Okay, those forest spirits, those fairies are very, very powerful spirits, okay? In the water and mermaids and marine life, they they don't play, okay? They don't play about us especially, okay? And people of the light. And you would think that as a fire sign, it's not our realm, it's not our territory. Absolutely not. Fire and water signs are the signs that they want to call us the crazy ones, but we're the ones that y'all obsess over, okay? We're the lovers, not the fighters. But you could push us there, you know? All right, I pulled some oracle cards. So, our oracle cards are kind of letting us know a little bit about how we can tell if we've been affected by this energy, right? If these darts are actually landing and hitting, we're going to have some signs that let us know the work is working on us a little bit. And we definitely need to do these cleanses, okay? We definitely want to get into doing some river work and some releasing, okay? Some things you're going to notice is extreme procrastination. You have the list, you're organized, you're ready to hop into 2026 full on in blast mode. Everything is lining up for you in so many ways. Fire signs. This is going to be a phenomenal year for us energetically. We're going to see so much expansion as we've kind of been held back by a lot of Saturn's kind of oppressive, restraining energy for a long time. And a lot of that is clearing up. A lot of the clouds are moving, away for us in the astrological sense. And so you're ripping and ready to run. If this is not the energy that you're in, if you are in, man, I can't get off the couch. If you're in bed rot energy, that's how you know the work is hitting you. Okay. Um, if you're having trouble staying in your spiritual hygiene, right? If it's just hard, if you usually sage your house once a week after you clean up, or if you mop the floor with pine once a month, like whatever your little hygiene is, if you're having trouble, you keep getting your hygiene loops interrupted by day-to-day BS. Even more specifically, like your phone buzzing and going off, because remember, this is a portal. Okay. This is a portal now. So if you sit down to meditate and your phone won't let you meditate, right? You thought you put it in silent and it's still making daggone noise. These are kind of signs, right? That interference is afoot. If you set your timer to get up and do some yoga and the timer doesn't go off, right? There's some sort of interference. If you said today I'm going to be non-conditional and be super positive, and then you get a super depressing email, right? These are things that we have to be aware of, hyper aware of in this digital age that can be effectual to us as well, okay? Especially if you're someone in this spiritual community. What I also want to say is if you're ruminating and remembering, thinking about how things separated and fell apart between the situation, you and this person who was, doing the working, throwing the jabbing eyes, that is another factor that lets you know. More or less, though, this is just letting you know that you're on their mind. This is not necessarily a part of the work, but this is how much they're concentrating on you. So if you can key into how often you're replaying and ruminating, that is going to let you know how much they are ruminating as well. Okay. So these are just some hints and some signs. Get into your river work. This temperance card is here for the healing, for the patience that it takes to actually cleanse yourself, call on your ancestors, get some divination, and go about it the right way. There's a little bit of work involved, right? But that's why we call it root work. And we want to get to the root of this one and clear it out. If you don't know specifically who this is, and you are someone who needs to kind of hone in on that, definitely book a reading and see if we can get into this deeper because I'm curious too. I'm a bias on they. Um, and a clarifying card there is this crying over situationships card, emotional investment and rejection. They were more invested in you than they ever thought they would have been. And that is what's throwing them for a loop, but it's also what is allowing them to put so much effort and energy into the working. They would not probably do this with someone else. They would not probably put so much effort forth for someone else that they didn't really respect at the end of the day. But it's you, baby. Okay. Fire signs, this is what they still won't say. This is what they're still stuck on. This is what they're still not over. That last conversation where things got a little spicy, okay? They really, really held their tongue about who and how much they do and don't respect you. Let's put it like that. On the surface, they don't give you no respect, but internally, big up. Big up to you, man.